Hey guys, welcome to another album review. Today I'm going to talk about Japandroids' new album, Near to the Wild Heart of Life. Japandroids is an alternative rock and post-punk band that was formed in Canada back in 2006. They gained major exposure and acclaim back in 2009 and 12 because of their first two releases, Post Nothing and Celebration Rock. But although they gained a lot of success with their first two albums, they decided in 2013 to go on a hiatus, or at least put their project, their band, on a pause. Now, 4 years have passed by, and they've now come out with their third release, Near to the Wild Heart of Life, which actually is a pretty good album. It consists of 9 tracks and with a total runtime of 36 minutes. And all of the songs have this blend of classical rock, alternative rock, and punk. I have to admit that some of these tracks that I listened to on this album actually came off as a little bit generic to me. Tracks like Midnight to Morning and No Known Drink or Drug are songs that apparently don't have anything specific about them. There's nothing that make them very unique compared to other classical rock and punk songs. They're kind of very conformed within these genres. They sound a lot like something Tom Petty or Bruce Springsteen or even Husker Du could have made. But, you know, although generic was the first word that kind of popped into my mind when I listened to this album from start to finish during the first time, I really wanted to give this album a listen. I wanted to consume it a bit and gain a deeper insight into what this album actually could offer me. And as I expected, although this music has kind of a lightweight feel to it, it still left a mark on me. The first track has the same name as the whole album, Near to the Wild Heart of Life. The lyrics tell this story, and maybe it's the guitarist, the vocalist story, or the drummer story, I don't know. But it's about this man who finds himself very lost in his hometown. He doesn't know what to do, and then a friend of him gives him the idea of actually going out there, traveling, exploring life, and just welcoming life with open arms. And as the song progresses, he is basically preparing himself to leave, and he is eventually leaving, falling in love, and it's kind of this, it tells the story of this classical hero's journey, I feel. So yeah, it's kind of like a cliche. The song in general is, I don't know, it's okay, there's nothing special about it, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Northeast Southwest is the second song on the album, and this also tells the story about a guy who is basically traveling from state to state, as the title suggests, and he bumps into a lot of weird stuff, a lot of troublesome stuff. He bumps into hardships that basically happen to everyone in life. So yeah, again, I feel like this is kind of like a cliche thing to write about. I still like this song a bit better compared to the first track because this feels a bit more laid back. It's not that forced into your ears. It has this firm kick and snare drum beat that is very catchy. I also like the tempo change that is happening like 3 minutes into the song. I think alterations like that is very important, especially with very generic music like this. So yeah, I think this was a lot better of a track. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. True Love and a Free Life of Free Will is the third track, and it's basically a song that talks about the themes of, you know, falling in love and finding out what you want to do with your life. This is definitely one of the more down-tempo songs of the album. It focuses more on creating an atmosphere instead of having a driving beat. The drums are instead used to closely follow the melody, and it's kind of intertwining itself with the melody and then kind of building up to this big momentum and big dynamic shift at the end of the song. This is another song with a lot of charm to it. I was really digging into this after a few listens, so yeah, I will give this one a 7 out of 10. I'm Sorry is the fourth track, and it's the shortest song on the whole album. The guitar uses this crunchy and distorted effect, and it's the same with the vocals as well. The vocals have these echo and radio effects on top of them. I really like how they use these effects to make this song stand out a bit more. There are no drums in the introduction of the song, but the drums are slowly and steadily coming in and gradually adding to the song. The first time I listened to this song, it really reminded me a lot of a Foo Fighters song, which is called Exhausted. I mean, check that song out and you'll hear the similarity between the guitar effects and so on. Out of the past 3 tracks, this is by far the most atmospheric and experimental song, and it is also the song that I like the most as of now, so yeah, I think I'll give this an 8 out of 10. The 5th track, Arc of Bar, is what you get if you blend Deftones' Pink Cell Phone together with Link Wray's Rumble. I can't even believe that I made that comparison, but go and listen to those songs and you'll hear it. Isn't it typical? Like, straight after the best song on the album, you get the least likable song of the whole album as well. It is not catchy, it is very, very boring, and it lasts for 7 minutes. Why? It just feels like they're dragging this song out, you know, milking it. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10. Midnight to Morning is actually the one song on this album that was in the gray zone for me. I really didn't know what to feel about this song. It is very similar to the opening track, I feel, especially in terms of the mood and the energy that you get from the song. There's some simple chords being played here. There's a driving beat kind of amping forth this melody. The verse is very powerful in terms of the musical image that it tries to create, and it's the same with the chorus, only that the chorus is of course a little bit more powerful. After a few verses and choruses, the tempo starts to gradually build up more and more and more, and then it suddenly stops and goes back to that old tempo of the previous chorus. I like how they put these small alterations in here. It really manages to spice up their music, and if they didn't put these things in here, like some guitar effects, some effects that you probably haven't heard before, some vocal effects, some changes in the tempo, changes in the drum patterns, etc. If they hadn't put this in here, I don't know, it would have been even more boring and it would sound very average. But anyways, I like this track. I will give this one a 7 out of 10. The 7th track, No Known Drink or Drug, also has one example of this very finessed alteration. During the first part of this song, all of the instruments have these lo-fi filter effects on them. It sounds like the instruments are kind of put in the background while the vocals are more at the front. And then during the second half of the song, these effects, this filter, this lo-fi theme kind of changes the place. So suddenly the vocals are in the background and the instruments are taking the lead, and I really love this alteration. I love how they have put in these small nuances. It mixes up the music a bit, and it makes it all a little bit more exciting. The melody and the cadence of the song are also really good. There's a lot of quality here, so I'll give this song another 7 out of 10. In a Body Like a Grave is the last and final song on this album. I don't really like this song because it was very, very repetitive, both sonically and lyrically. It sounds like they tried really hard to create this very epic ending to the album, but I don't know, they fell a little bit short of that, I think. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. Nonetheless, it's an okay track, so yeah, I think I'll give it a 5 out of 10. In general, I feel like this album was a positive experience. It wasn't good from start to finish. There were quite some mediocre tracks here. So I don't know. I think still there was some quality and some charm to this, so it's absolutely worth checking out. But I'll give this album a 6 out of 10. Alright, thank you so much for watching this review, guys. Let me know what you think about this band, about this album, if you've listened to it, in the comments below. And also, if you're just as dedicated to music as I am, make sure to hit that red subscribe button below, and there will be new videos coming out every single week. Alright, thank you so much for watching, guys. See you later. Bye. It's about traveling,